Good day, Professor Alfornon. I'm Maria Ruth Pinatinga, and
I'm John Russell Alferez.
And I'm Jeremel Alo.
in this video, we're going to focus on the three main points.
First of all, I'll talk about the current relationship between China and the Philippines when it comes to political, economic, and social aspect.
Second, we'll look at the impact of Chinese culture on contemporary Philippines, and
Finally, comparing it with the impact of Chinese culture on 19th century. Now, let's start with the current relationship between China and the Philippines. I will give to Mr. Alo and Mr. Alferez for further details about the topic.
In Asia, the current state of the economic, trade, and political relationship between the Philippines and the People's Republic of China. The election of Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte in 2016 has a fact change in the strategy and affect this relationship. However, since President Duterte took office, he has extended a hand of economic and political cooperation to China, and his official visit to Beijing was economically productive visit as it was formative in securing investment and credit lines pledges that amounted to approximately 24 billion US dollar in business and trade deals for the Philippines. However, what has attracted much international economic interest and criticism has been Duterte's decision over the South China and West Philippine Sea maritime disputes, where he has recently stated that the Philippines cannot stop China from building military and government facilities on the disputed shoals, although the Hague-based International Arbitration Tribunal ruled in 2015 that internationally agreed Philippines maritime territory must be observed by China. China opposed this decision and has gone ahead in developing these shoals into a permanent military and government-occupied base. This action means that under the previous Aquino government, the Philippines has postponed formal membership in China-led Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank and has questioned the agenda behind the overall transparency in its governing structure. Clearly, the South China disputes are defining the overall texture of Philippine-China relations. Additionally, it is estimated that the undiscovered natural gas and oil deposit under the Philippine maritime territory may be among some of the largest unexplored resources globally. China would obviously like to have control of these resources.
continuing with the report of Mr. Alo, massive trade benefits for the Philippines during the visit last year by President Duterte, as here at the state visit to China, securing investment and credit line pledges amounting to US dollar 24 billion, or nearly double the initial amount reported. Trade Secretary Ramon Lopez said at the time that the total amount included US dollar 15 billion worth of investment project and US dollar 9 billion in credit facilities. Earlier estimates had placed the total trade package at US dollar 13.5 billion. There was apparently 17 extra trade deals with the combined values of US dollar 11.24 billion. That's the worst sign following the meeting between the two leaders are in the events organized by the Philippines Chamber or Commerce and Industries and the Federation of Filipino Chinese Chambers and Commerce and Industry. Among these extra deals were the following. The Philippines mining firm Ferronickel signed as US dollar 500 US dollar 7 million deal with Bayin International Investment Ltd to construct a steel plant, while Greenery Energy Development Corporation signed a MOU with Power China GEC-LWR Engineering Corporation to develop a 300 megawatts hydropower plant project valued at approximately US dollar 1 billion. Another Philippine company, MVP Global Infrastructure Group Ltd, with a focus on joint investment with major mainland Chinese companies who are already operating in Malaysia, Vietnam, and the Philippines also, signed a large investment deals with MVP Group, also signed a MOU do establish a partnership with China Railway Engineering Corporation to build infrastructure investment project valued at US $2.5 billion. There were projects with the Suli Group to invest in cabling manufacturing facilities in the Philippines valued at US $3.1 billion plus US $780 million contract for the mega harbor ports signed with China Harbor engineering companies to complete 214-hectare coastline project. Now, moving on to the next topic, I will give to Ms. Natinga for further information about our report.
Thanks, Mr. Alferez. And now I'd like to elaborate on this point, which is the impacts of the Chinese culture on contemporary Philippines. China and the Philippines have shared a long enduring relationship. Just look at the over 400-year-old Binondo, the oldest Chinatown in the world, being situated in the Philippines. Throughout the long withstanding historical ties, they have shared inter-ethnic relationships, territorial disputes, maritime conflicts, and diplomatic and foreign policy, trade, and economic partnership. Now, the impacts of Chinese culture on contemporary Philippine society. So the trade with China was the beginning of a major influence and contribution within the Filipino culture. One major influence that the Chinese contributed within the culture was culinary arts. Some culinary techniques that the Filipinos were taught included sautéed dishes, rice cakes, and noodles dishes like pancit. And expanding economic convergence. China became the Philippines' biggest trade partners in 2016. So the second largest foreign tourist market with the fastest growth in 2018 and was the most significant driver behind the Philippine construction boom in the past 2 years. The implications of Chinese mestizos in the Philippine society. The Chinese mestizos were an important element of the Philippine society in 19th century. They played a significant role in the formation of the Filipino middle class, in the agitation of reforms in the 1898 Revolution, and in the formation of what is now known as the Filipino nationality. In conclusion, it is obvious that the Philippines is rapidly improving its trading and economic position with the ASEAN region. However, with this, it should be noted that there remain many difficult and large social and related issues that need to be tackled, and the Philippine-China relationship remains precarious, and mainly due to the maritime dispute and yet unresolved, and will of course do have a good and reputable group of economic advisors behind them, and without a doubt, the Philippines economy is rising from previously poor situation. Its trade relations with China remain of great importance, and despite all the issues mentioned above, I suspect will continue to improve, hopefully to the benefit of the both countries.